Disney Star Wars has been horrible since Kathleen Kennedy betrayed George Lucas. Because the moment that she threw away the sequel treatments, part of that $4.05 billion Disney paid, that 0.5 was the treatments for the sequel trilogy that misandrist, narcissist Kathleen Kennedy threw away. And then she hired every woke person that she possibly could to fill the writers group so they could sit around the writers table and talk about their genders and what they call their genders and their genitals and what they do with their genitals and who they use their genitals with. That's all they care. That's all these woke, Holly-weird, pedo-peddling servants of the infant-devouring billionaire class do. Have you seen the Met Gala? There's a lot of trauma going through Hollywood. We saw when they finally had to fire Chuck Wendig, who was one of the craziest, outraged, woke liberals of all time. The nastiest that he said. We've listened to Pablo Hidalgo calling the fans militant and shitty because they did not want their canon turned into legends. They didn't want Disney canon. We watched as J.J. Abrams was cut off from every avenue he wanted to take with The Force Awakens because Kathleen Kennedy, in her narcissism, needed herself projected on screen as Rey. And then in a final insult, she hired Rian Johnson, the most narcissistic person you could possibly, the most horrible writer, the most horrible director you possibly could, to make a complete and utter disjointed joke with The Last Jedi, an insult at the fans. This has been the problem the whole time. The enemy of the woke liberal is exactly who the fans of Star Wars have always been. Straight men, a majority of whom were white. And there were a lot of women in the fandom at that time too, but they didn't recognize them because they sided with the patriarchy. I, author Stephen Walton, the fandom menace historian, brought this up years ago to take the only route that we could to get rid of the sequel trilogy and get back to a trilogy that we deserved, with honoring the original characters, using the original actors that we don't have anymore. Shout out to that meme from Stephen Wayne Art. Myself and Overlord DVD Lord Doomcock had talked about using the World Between Worlds to change everything, to bring it back to normalcy. Because the woke liberals, the Kathleen Kennedys, her entire horrible story group, those damaged ideologues who care more about identity politics and DEI and what they do with their genders and their genitalia than honoring the legacy and lore that was passed down from George Lucas. It doesn't matter what happens, the damage has already been done. Let Disney burn to the ground, hail the fandom menace, make your voices heard, my nerds, be good to each other, yet suffer no fools.